Hello everyone, this is going to be a quick presentation on several important angles and facts on the recent bombings in Belgium. As always, the deep state mouthpiece media is presenting the entire incident with twists, omissions, and missing facts, so I'm going to bring up at least a few things quickly here and later follow up with more in-depth analysis. Just let's start with clarifying this ISIS brand, because ISIS is a brand created to replace and expand the previous US NATO created brand Al-Qaeda. Just like its sister brand, ISIS is being used by the West to expand further in the Middle East, a strategic war for domination of Syria, Iraq, Iran, and beyond. ISIS's existence and operations aid and fulfill rather than oppose US NATO special interests. ISIS's fighting capacity is within rather than beyond the West, and it aids rather than opposes US NATO special interests. All you have to do is just take a look at the ISIS supply line. It runs from NATO territory in Turkey, where the US and allies are aiding the flow into its target territories. Plain and simple. Now, back to Belgium. Why Belgium is significant? To understand this, we first have to know something about US NATO created Operation Gladio, a decades-long program of officially sanctioned false flag terror, and how it was morphed from a nationalism cover to an Islamic terrorism cover. The main headquarters of the Gladio operation is a special division within the Pentagon in the United States, and its European headquarters has been operating from a highly secretive division with a NATO headquarters in Brussels, Belgium. I encourage you to watch my Gladio B interview series at Corbett Report. Okay. Now, allow me to read an excerpt from already admitted to and confirmed facts on the role of Belgium in US NATO Operation Gladio and its ongoing cover-ups. After the existence of the Belgian branch of the Gladio network became public, speculations and allegations about involvement of the Gladio operatives in various high-profile and often unsolved crimes and terroristic acts during the 1980s began to appear in the media. To investigate these allegations and clarify the operation of the Belgian branch, a senatorial investigative commission was established on December 20th, 1990. It was tasked with clarifying the structure, aims, etc. of the network, this is the Gladio network, and the amount of oversight, and whether there was a link with events previously examined in parliamentary inquiries or certain serious crimes and terroristic acts committed the previous decade. The commission convened from January 16, 1991 until July 5, 1991, during which 57 meetings were held and 37 witnesses were heard. So, what were the results of these investigations? We don't know. All secret, all classified, all held behind closed doors, all covered up and hushed. Let's read further. Due to the nature of the case, and this is the Operation Gladio case, no, folks, this is not conspiracy, and the various legal, professional, and military and intelligence requirements of confidentiality, the Commission went to great lengths in limiting public access to discussed material. So, what was it for, right? For instance, the Parliament did forego an earlier proposition for a parliamentary in favor for the proposition by Lallemand, which included the requirement that the Commission operated behind closed doors. So, yeah, it ended up getting stuck in this black hole, like everything else, like 9/11. And here is just one example incident that was created, a synthetic terror by Operation Gladio in Belgium. In 1985, in Belgium, a secret army attacks and shoots shoppers in supermarkets randomly in Brabant County, killing 28 and leaving many wounded. Investigations link the terror to a conspiracy among the Belgian stay-behind SDRA 8, the Belgian Gendarme SDRA 6, and the Belgian right-wing group Westland New Post, and check this out, and the Pentagon Secret Service Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA. On October 27, 2014, in an interview with James Corbett, I delved into and explained the role of Belgium as Operation Gladio's artery within Europe and a hub for the creation of synthetic terror groups and false flag operations. And later, about a year ago, on January 22, 2015, James Corbett and I talked about Belgium again and discussed its role in Operation Gladio B and furthering synthetically created ISIS terrorism. Don't worry, I'll provide you the links to these significant video shows, and I'll encourage all of you to go and watch the interviews because these issues are current and they will remain current, unfortunately. So, false flag parallels to 9/11. Let's look at this. Interestingly, as with the September 11 terrorist attacks, the so-called terrorist attacks, carried out under the Al-Qaeda brand, the recent Belgian bombings came with its own set of warnings. Just check out this article that came out on January 17, 2015. Just check out the title. Anti-terror raids suggest Belgium has become center for extremists. And just a few days before the Brussels attack, there were other warnings and articles written about the coming attacks. Here's a reminder from 9/11, and now let's go back to 2001. 2 months before 9/11, an urgent warning to rise took place about coming attacks. On July 10, 2001, 2 months before the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, then CIA Director George Tenet met with his counterterrorism chief, Cofer Black, at CIA headquarters to review the latest on Osama bin Laden and his Al-Qaeda terrorist organization. Remember, back then, the brand was Al-Qaeda. Black laid out the case consisting of communications intercepts and other top-secret intelligence showing the increasing likelihood that Al-Qaeda would soon attack the United States. Very similar with what we have seen with Belgium. So it seems like all roads lead to US NATO, doesn't it? Here is another interesting fact that hasn't been really publicized by the mainstream media. Not a surprise, of course. According to The Independent, ISIS supporters have been celebrating the Brussels attacks online as speculation mounts that the group is behind a wave of deadly attacks in the Belgian capital. What that Daily Mirror report suggests, as other reports as well, is that the IP addresses of the ISIS are indirectly linked to the British government. 1. The identity of the ISIS social media is invariably known to police authorities. And 2. The ISIS social media are sponsored by Saudi Arabia, which is also involved in the recruitment and training of terrorists in liaison with US and NATO. It is worth noting that British government has already acknowledged its responsibility. The Cabinet Office has now admitted to selling the IP addresses to Saudi Telecom and the Saudi-based mobile telecommunications company earlier this year. Another interesting aspect of this Belgian bombing case has to do with this speedy suspects identification minus factual evidence. Just within a few hours after the bombing, this came out via mainstream media okay, on the bombing and the suspects. And I have a link here, and here's the page to RT article. Image released of possible suspects behind Brussels airport blasts. It shows two men with black hair, one of them definitely bearded, wearing black jumpers. Both of them can be seen pushing airport baggage trolleys, and both have one hand gloved, and these are leather black gloves, folks, possibly hiding a trigger for a bomb. Well, of course, the next day, they confirmed that yes, indeed, these images captured of these two guys happen to be the suspects, the suicide bombers who committed this so-called terrorism act. I don't know about you, but if I were ISIS and planning this, would I execute it looking like a suspicious Islamic ISIS? Seriously? Well, the beard would have to go. The hair color would have to change. And what's the deal posing with one black gloved hand? Black jumpers? And all this in NATO's headquarters city with facial recognition software all over the airport? In an airport known for extremely tight security? I'm surprised they didn't walk around waving an ISIS brand flag. There are and will be tons to discuss and analyze on this latest Operation Gladio B synthetic terror event in Belgium. Also, keep in mind what will take place afterwards, okay? Whether it is expanding the existing wars or starting new ones, whether it is furthering police state practices, those are equally, if not more important than the bombing itself. And I really want us to pay attention and just look at the pattern, the similarity with each false flag operation conducted, executed by Operation Gladio B. This is Sibel Edmonds. I'll be back with more soon.